Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important example related to template driven form, where we will see how to apply styling for forms on the basis of state, ng-dirty and ng-pristine. Prior to this session, we already discussed many other states like ng-touch, untouched and many other. Right, so this session is in the continuation of the same, where we will be mainly focusing on ng-dirty and ng-pristine. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use ng-state, angular state, ng-dirty and ng-pristine classes for applying the CSS. Okay, alright, so now we are, and just one more thing, like for the detailed content and for the sequential content, you can refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. So from there you can take a reference. There you will find more than 3000 plus free resources available in both Hindi as well as English language. So as per your convenience, you can refer it and learn it. Okay, alright, so now let's get started with the session. Here you can see currently I'm in the app.component.html file, where I have noted down a couple of headings, which shows first heading is Angular course by Sharmit, main heading, and then we have second heading that shows template driven form example in Angular for styling form based on state, ng-dirty and ng-pristine. So these are the two things that we have mentioned here. Now after this, on line number 9 or 10, we have this horizontal row. So on line number 9 we have one horizontal row, which will help us to separate out the headings with the actual form content. Okay, so let's add one more horizontal row, and now in between these two horizontal rows we will define our form. Now remember one thing, as per the heading we are sure that we are going to create one form, and in form we are supposed to use ng form, right? But to use the ng form, it should be imported in your browser, correct? It should be imported in your component file, not browser. So to import this thing, what you can do, you can simply go to app.component.ts file. Here we have one import section. Inside this import section you will write the forms module, and that press enter. Once you press enter, it will automatically add this forms module here. That means now the forms module is successfully imported, and now you are good to use it in your HTML. Clear? So this part is clear. Now we have already imported the prerequisite thing. Now it's good time to start with the further logic. So for that, let's create one form here, and in this form we will simply add the required thing. Like firstly we will assign the template reference variable, so you can simply write here my form equal then ng form. After this you can add one label here, and this label will just tell us the title of the field which we are going to create. So basically we will create a very simple form with one field only, although in forms we have multiple fields, but for this example we will just take one field that will help us to understand the concept of ng-dirty and ng-pristine class. Okay, so we will create one input field with the name user, or maybe we will create it as name. Okay, now for this name we will add one input field. So let's add the input field here, and in input field we will add one by one all types of things, like its type, name and everything, right? So firstly we will write here type. In type we will mention it as text. Then we will write here name. In name we will write username, and after this we will add here ng model. Then we will add here required, just for the basic validation. Okay, so we will keep the same validation like required and minimum length. So required is added, now add minimum length. Here I will write 3, so it will check for 3, although like for this demo we don't need these validation, but just create the basic form, so that you can keep in mind that yes, you can apply the validation also, and it should be there, right? Okay, after this we will add one more template reference variable. So hashtag username ctrl and assign ng model here. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now press Ctrl S for save. Something is wrong. Okay, yeah, so it is saved. Now it is aligned properly because I'm using one of the extension in my VS Code, so it is automatically aligning it for me. In case if your code is not aligned, you can either do it manually but it will work. Like if syntax is okay, then it will work. Doesn't matter if you write it in 2 line, 3 line or 4 lines. Okay, but syntax should be same as it is. Okay, now after this what we will do, we will add one button here just to submit the form, although we will not write any logic to submit the form and to process the backend data, but let's keep it as a button so that you can understand that okay, so we can create a button and we can do the button related things also, because for now we are just focusing on CSS part, not on the backend other things, right? Alright, so now it's time to go ahead and see the impact of or see the output. We haven't applied any CSS yet, so firstly I'll just tell you the meaning, like when these two classes get invoked. So if we particularly talk about ng-pristine, so it invoked by default because it is applicable when value never changed. You got my point? When value never changed, in that case ng-pristine will be invoked. On the other hand, we have ng-dirty, so whenever the user change the value, in that case it will invoke ng-dirty. So these are the two things that you should keep in mind while answering the question in interview or while writing your exams, because these are the proper difference between ng-pristine, and it is applicable when the value never changed, and ng-dirty when user change the value. So these are the two things. Okay, fine. Now but we haven't applied any CSS yet, right? So firstly I'll show you the output as it is, and then we will see the CSS impact. So let's run the application. ng-serve -open, then press enter. After pressing enter, you will see that browser is executed the code, and we have firstly the main heading that shows Angular codes by Sharmit. We have this template driven form example in Angular for styling forms based on state, ng-dirty and ng-pristine. Then we have one horizontal row, then we have one name field with one input field, and we have also this submit. Clear? And then we have this drop down, this horizontal row again, just to separate out the form with the headings and extra space. But the thing is that currently it is not highlighting that it is the values never changed, right? We didn't change any value, but still it is showing the normal box. In fact, if I write something here, still it will show normal box. Why? Because we haven't applied the CSS. So let's one by one apply the CSS and see the result. So let's go to app.component.css file. Here you can simply write the logic firstly for the pristine or maybe for the dirty. So input ng-dirty, opening closing curly braces, then you can write here border, then we will write here 2 pixel solid black. Okay, now you can save it, and also let's add background color so that we can see it properly. So let's add aqua color. Fine. So now you can see when I write something here ABC, it automatically changed the background color to aqua color and also added a thin border of 2 pixel, I guess. Yes, 2 pixel solid black color. That means our ng state is working perfectly, that is ng-dirty, and according to the logic it is highlighting the things with background color and border. Remember one thing, we haven't added anything here, we have directly added the logic in the CSS file. Likewise, if you want to apply it to the pristine state, that is our default state, so in that case what you can do, write input dot ng-dirty, then we will write here pristine, then curly braces, then we will write here border 2 pixel solid black, and background color would be yellow. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now refresh it and you can see by default it is coming with a background yellow and black background, border as a black. Why? Because by default whenever the page is load, it comes as a ng-pristine, and when user types something it become ng-dirty. So right now we just load the page, it is coming as pristine. The moment when I start writing something, it will become dirty. Clear? So yeah, that's all for today in this session. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.